Hi, I'm Carl.
And I'm Donna, and today we're going to have fun with
Forks.
There are all kinds of forks you can use. Some forks are plastic and some forks are metal.
Today, we're going to talk about what you can use forks for.
These are the different kinds of forks that are available. There are salad forks, fish forks, dessert forks, oyster forks, and of course, dinner forks.
Of course, there are dinner forks. Today, we're going to set our sights specifically on the dinner fork. The dinner fork can come in either plastic or metal. Today, we're going to be talking about the metal variety.
You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars.
Hi everybody! So we're in the kitchen today because I'm isolated at home and it seemed like a really good day to bake something. So today what I thought I would do is make a cherry pie for you guys. So the first thing that I'm going to do is turn my oven on. I'm going to put it on 400 and we're going to get this thing started. So on the ingredients list today, what I like to use for my pie dough, sometimes I use the already made pie crust dough in the refrigerator, but I find that Krusteaz, this box mix, is really nice because all you got to do is add water, and it's nice because I could roll it out myself, get it the thickness I want, and it's very easy to work with. So we're going to use that today. And then this one box makes 4 pie crusts. So I'm only going to use like half the box today, and we're going to make a double crust for the cherry pie. The other thing you could do with this is you could make hand pies, cut little rounds and make little individual pies and freeze them. And I thought about doing that because since you know, it's just us and there's not a lot of, you know, people eating this pie, rather than have it go to waste, I could make individual ones and freeze them, and then we could take them out as we wanted to use them. And if I were going to do it that way, I would probably put a powdered sugar glaze on them, kind of like the little store-bought pies that you buy. But today we're just going to make a regular cherry pie, and I'm going to show you how I do it. And so we've got this pie crust mix. And I'm gonna I just kind of eye it. I'm just gonna put like half of this in my bowl. And that's going to give us 2 pie crusts. And then I'm gonna save the rest for later. What I've got in this bowl is, I just bought cherry pie filling today. Sometimes you've got to use what's available, and the store's pretty empty right now. So if I can, I buy the canned red cherries in the can that's not the pie filling, and it's super easy to warm it up on the stove, and you make a little thickener with cornstarch and water, and you just thicken the cherries yourself, and you can sweeten them to your own taste. It's a good way if you don't want to add a lot of sugar, or you want a sugar-free pie, you could add Splenda. So that's a great way to go, and we'll probably do that next time. But for now, all I could find was the cherry pie filling. So I actually find that the canned cherry pie filling doesn't have a lot of cherries in it, or fruit for that matter if you get the apple. So sometimes what I did was I bought a 32-ounce can as well as a 21-ounce can, and then I have put this in a strainer. And I kind of try to get some of that sauce, I don't know what else to call it, the glaze, I guess, out of it, because there's way more glaze than there is cherries. So I just put it in a colander, I sit it over a bowl, and I don't want to get rid of all of it, but I just want to lessen it. So buy more cherries or more apples than you think you need, and let some of that drain out. So we've got our cherries ready to go. And in this bowl, I've got my pie mix dough. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 2 to 3 tablespoons of water at a time. And then we're gonna see if we've got enough moisture in here to make it work. And it's a little humid today. Sometimes that'll make a difference as to how much liquid you need. And the nice thing about this too is I can always add a little bit more mixture from the box or a little bit more liquid, whichever I need. But you just want it to come together in the bowl. And I'm using my silicone spatula so I can kind of mash it down as I go. And we're just gonna mix this up. I'm thinking that looks pretty good, because don't forget, you're gonna put it out on a floured surface and you're gonna be adding a little bit more flour to this. So I always lean towards the side of it being a little soft. All right, so it's all sticking together. When you squish it in your hand, it should stick together and come to a ball. So that's what we're looking for. All right, so now we've got that. All right, so I'm gonna get a little flour out on my board. And I've got a pretty nice working surface here. So, you know, I don't really use anything else. I just put it out here on my board. And then we're gonna scoop all this out here on the flour. Okay. And now we're just gonna bring it together. It's kind of crumbly, which is what you want. And we're gonna knead it a little bit. You don't need it a lot. It's not like bread or noodles. You just wanna gather up a little bit of flour. You don't want it to be sticky. You don't want it to stick to your hands. Okay, we're just going to scoop it up. We're gonna form it into a little ball. And then I'm gonna let it rest for about 10 minutes. Okay, everybody has a different way of doing it. Some people, you know, put it in the fridge, let it rest. I don't know. I don't find it makes any difference, at least not with this pie dough. Okay, so I've got it right there. Little flour. I'll put a little bit more on top. I don't want it to stick to anything. I've got my roller, and I'm just going to flour the roller. Okay, and then we're going to get started. I have a glass pie plate today, so I'm gonna put a little bit of flour in the pie plate. Just make sure it's nice, dry, and ready for the pie dough. Okay, so we've got that. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna start from the center of the dough, and you're just gonna go, you're just gonna push it out a little bit, okay? And then we're gonna turn it a quarter of a turn, and that's to make sure that nothing's sticking to the board. And if you need to, put a little bit more flour on top, flip it over. You just want to keep working it and making sure that it's not sticking to your surface. And always start from the middle, and in order to keep a nice circle, you're just going to go out from the center, and you're going to move your roller around, and we're looking for about a 14-inch circle. You want to go about 2 or 3 inches beyond the parameter of your pie plate, okay? Because you want to be able to make a nice, we're going to make a nice pretty fluted edge to this, and I'm going to show you it's not hard. Don't be intimidated. All right, so, okay, it's looking good. I'll make sure we're not sticking. All right, and I'm going to go just a little bit further on the one side. Now, I'm going to tell you that it's actually been a while since I made a pie with this, and it said on the box that this would make 4 pie crusts. I don't agree. I used half of that box, and I'm going to get 1 pie crust out of this. So I'm going to go ahead and probably use the whole box today. I don't like a wimpy crust. Crust is probably my favorite part of the pie. So, and I want people to know I made the pie. I don't want it to look like a store-bought pie. So I also think that a little thicker crust is going to give you that nice homemade look too. So this dough is done, and I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna fold it into fourths. You can do half if you feel comfortable picking it up like that, but I'm folded in half, then I fold it into a quarter, make sure everything's not sticking. I'm gonna move my plate over here. So then all you gotta do is sit the quarter down in the pan, and then you're gonna unfold it. And we're gonna go all the way out. Make sure that you've got a nice extra lip over the side of everything. And then we're just gonna mush it up against the pan, because pie crust dough will shrink while it's in the oven. So you give it a little push on the sides, and then when we flute that edge, we're also going to smash it down onto the plate, and that way if it shrinks up in the oven, it's not going to kind of cave down inside of the pie pan too much. So, all right, we've got that in there. Looks pretty good. Now all we got to do is put our filling in there. Okay, so we've got our pie filling, and I'm just going to dump all these cherries into this pie crust. This is going to be so good. I also like using the extra cherries because I don't like a wimpy pie. So, all right, so we got our cherries in there. That looks good. Just spread it out to the edges. Nothing fancy about it. All right, and then we got to roll out our other dough because this isn't going to do it. All right, so I'm going to sit this over to the side. And the other thing we're going to do today, don't be afraid, we're going to make a lattice top for this pie. It's not hard. Don't be afraid. I got you. We're going to do fine. All right, so we got more dough in here, and we got to add more water to this. So we're going to do just like we did before. And we're stirring, and we're stirring, and we're stirring. I could do this in my food processor or in my mixer, but it really doesn't take too long for it to come together. And if I were probably doing the whole box, if I would have started that way, I probably would have gone for the stand mixer, but it's all good. I'm feeling a little extra muscly today. All right, guys, so there it is. There's our rat. It's starting to come together. You can smush it in your hand and it'll turn into a ball. So I don't think we need more liquid or anything. All right, so we're gonna go through the same process again. A little flour on the board. We're gonna dump out our dough. It actually looks like maybe, you know, when I started the process, I didn't really get half of the box because it looks like there's more here than there was before. But I have a secret of something that I do with the extra dough. You'll be very excited to see that. So stick around till the end. Okay, so we got our dough. We're smooshing it together. Take it, just make sure, you know, it's not sticky, and I try to gather up all the little crumbs on the board. And then I'm kind of a neat freak in the kitchen, I think. Or so I've been told. Anyway, all right, so we got it mixed up. I'm not going to need all of this, so I'm going to sit part of this to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and roll this out. Now I'm going to make sure my board is floured. I'm going to start it out. You want to smooth the edges of your dough ball. I'm flattening it a little bit, kind of like if you were making hamburger patties, right? Because when you smush the hamburger, you don't want all the little edges to crack. So a good way to keep this from cracking while I'm rolling it is to go ahead and smooth my edges on my ball here and kind of smoosh it down in the middle like that. So I've got a nice little disc and the edges are kind of smooth, you know, not 100%. It's not rocket science. And then I'm going to let it rest, and then we're going to come back and finish it. Our dough is ready. We're going to flour this a little bit. Make sure that our rolling pin is floured. And again, start from the center, quarter turn, and roll. Quarter turn, flip it, and add a little bit more flour. This side is kind of cracking, so I'm going to smush that as I go. All right, That's looking good. Now we're gonna do a lattice crust. So we are gonna make a circle and then we're going to cut it. So it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but you do want it to be able to cover everything that we've got going. So this is feeling a little sticky. I don't want it to stick to the counter here, so I'm gonna lift it up and we're gonna put a little more flour down. I'm gonna move it back over, a little more flour. Pie is messy business. There's just no getting around it. Some things are just messy. The other thing I want to mention, you know, I know you guys are having a hard time finding stuff in the store right now. So try to, you know, call out on the old-fashioned days. And remember, if you have flour and eggs and milk, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can make, you know. You can do noodles, your own bread. I didn't find any pasta when we went to the store the other day. I mean, nothing. There was no meat, no nothing. So, you know, the struggle is real and you got to work with what you got. So, all right. Our dough is out and we are ready to cut it, and we're going to put it on the pie like a lattice crust. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. Alrighty. Okay, so here's our cherry pie. See if you can see that all right. And now I'm going to, you could use a pizza cutter if you want, but I'm just going to use my knife, and I'm going to cut like 1/2 inch strips, I guess. Like I said before, remember pie dough shrinks. So you don't want them too thin, because then what'll happen is all of the cherry filling is going to bubble up between the spaces on the lattice, and it'll, I mean, it's kind of pretty, but you want it to look as neat as possible. So I'm just going to cut strips. We're going to go all the way down. Doesn't take very long. And you want it thick enough, you know, you want to be able to lift these strips up and sit them on the pie. So we're going to go all the way across, and I'm going to show you guys a couple of little tricks that I use to figure this out. Okay, so just about done. Now, if you think about it, okay, the center, these strips in the center are longer than the ones out here on the side. So as you're laying these on your pie crust, it's important to do it the same way. So you want the longer strips across the middle, and then as you get out to the edges, then you can use the shorter ones as well. So I'm going to start with the middle. I'm going to pick these up, and I'm just going to sit this one right across the center of the pie. Okay, so I got that one across. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to lay 2 more on this side, and each one is going to be slightly shorter than the one before it. Okay, and then we're going to go back across the other direction, and it's okay, this one broke, you just smoosh it back together again. They'll stick back together. If you need to, you can use a little water, and that'll help them stick too. Okay, so going across, and I'm gonna pick this one up. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across, and now to go back the other direction, we want to alternate these. So all we're going to do is we're going to lift up every other one halfway across the pie. So I just lifted the 2 in the middle. I've picked them up and laid them over on the other side. Now we're going to pick up the next long strip, and we're going to put it right down the middle underneath these 2, and we're going to lay them back over this. Okay, just like that. I have to put a little water on that one. It is not wanting to stick. Okay, it's all good. It's still very edible. Okay, now we're going to pick up the opposite ones, not the ones that we just lifted, but the other ones. So there's 3 of those. Lift them up, pick them up, put them on the other side, and now we're going to lay a strip right about there. And you want it about the same distance as you have the other ones. So, you know, just eyeball it, and then lift your strips up and lay them back down over that one. Okay, so we got 2 done already. And then the third one, we're gonna go the opposite ones that we just lifted up. We're gonna take a short strip down here on the end and then lay your strips back down. See, not complicated at all. Now we're gonna go back to the other side. This side needs these 3 up. We're gonna lay our last longest one right there. Lay these back down over the top. Do the last opposite 2 and a short strip there, and then lay these back down over the top of that. Okay, we got our lattice done. I got one here in the middle, kind of wanted to not, it broke. It's okay, it's not gonna be a horrible thing. Okay, so I'm gonna gather up our scraps here. We're gonna put it with the rest of our dough so I can show you guys what we're gonna do with that. And then let's finish this pie. Okay, so we've got all these, you know, cranky strips around here on the side and everything. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift the dough from the bottom. So our bottom dough, we're gonna pick it up and we're just going to roll it towards the top of the pie. And we're gonna try to incorporate those little strips into that dough as you roll it up. And you know, it breaks a little bit, some of it's a little bit more than others, but we're gonna go back and we're gonna straighten it up, so don't worry about it. Okay, so just roll this up, roll it toward the center of the pie, just gather it up, smoosh it together. It's a very technical term, smooshing. Okay, we're gonna go up here like this, and we're smooshing, and we're going around. And right now it's just very rustic, don't even worry about it. Not a big deal. If you feel like, you know, it's crazy, super dry and crumbly, you could always wet your fingers a little bit and that would help some of it stick. But for right now, this is going pretty good. And it's not supposed to be, you know, it's not supposed to be super beautiful or whatever. I have a little less dough right here in the middle than on the side, so I just kind of, you know, pushing it together so that there's about the same amount of dough to make a lip on this crust. Okay, so that's all you do, you know, it's very forgiving. And you know, if you add, I've even got scrap dough over here if I want to add, you know, to this and make a little bit more dough there, you can do that. Okay, so I'm back to the beginning. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to smooth this out, and I'm going to try to make it all about the same height. I'm just pushing it together with my 2 fingers like this. Okay, and we're just going to go around the edges, and we're going to do this, you know, 2 or 3 times. So don't worry, you just want to work your way around. And right now we're just going to concentrate on smoothing out the crumbly edge, if you will, and trying to make everything about the same height, about the same thickness as we go around. And I'm also pushing down on the pie plate because, again, like I said before, you know, it's going to shrink. So don't worry, you know, if it seems like it's too high or something, because it is going to shrink down. So, all right, it's not looking too bad. And I'm just going to go around one more time and just kind of smoosh it to the pie pan. I want to make sure that it doesn't fall down while it's baking. And again, you can kind of push down on the top as you're going around, and that'll make it smooth too. But press it up against the pie pan and make sure that it's sticking. Okay, that looks pretty good. Not too bad. We'll lift it up a little bit. Okay, now we're gonna flute the edge. And all you do to do that is, I'm gonna put 1 finger in this way and 2 fingers right up against the side of that. And then we're gonna go around the pie that way. Go that way. That's easier to see. So I'm just gonna push in from this way and 2 fingers this way. And we're just going to smoosh these edges, and we're just gonna make a pretty little edge on it. It's really not hard, you guys. A lot of people use a fork. You could do that too. You can use the back of a spoon. But I find this is just as quick, and it works out just as good. And you don't have to have nails. As a matter of fact, I have long nails. I think that probably makes it more difficult. I don't know. But as this finger is pushing down, push it down against the pie plate and then the other 2 fingers up against the side. All right, so we're just gonna go all the way around, smooshing and squishing. All right, not bad. Okay.
Wanted to break in and tell you, I don't know where this coronavirus thing's gonna go. I don't know what's gonna happen with it. But I know this, we all need to be nice to each other right now more than ever. We all need to help each other more than ever. This is just my opinion. If you own a business, if you are someone who has access to medical supplies, gloves, sanitizer, antiseptic wipes, face masks, if you have access to that stuff, donate that to your healthcare providers. We need to protect them more than anybody, because if they go down, we all go down. And they're putting their life on the line every single day, and the lives of their family members and close friends, just by being in that environment where the epicenters are taking place in every single city. So if you can donate, donate. Don't sit on the stuff, don't hoard. I know you won't, but I just wanted to kind of get my own thoughts out there that now is the time for giving more than ever. And I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about items and service, if you can provide something that will help the medical professionals. Just my thoughts. You don't have to agree, but they're running out of stuff. And if you have it sitting, I don't know, people sometimes have boxes of this stuff sitting in their garages at home. If you've got gloves, if you've got masks, take them and donate them to a local hospital. The life you save may be your own. Talk to you soon.
The other thing you can do, if you like, is on the point out here, you can kind of push that together with your fingers, and it'll make a little bit more of a point, a little bit more of a definition in your curls. And yeah, that's all there is to it. Run around, do it a few times. It's all good. All right, looks pretty good. Now, I have over here in a bowl an egg white, and I put about a tablespoon of water in there, and I'm just mixed it up with a fork till it's a little frothy. That's all you need. And you can use a whole egg if you want to, but I've just got an egg white today, and we're just gonna brush this on the crust. And I'm gonna start with the outside crust first. It's probably gonna get a little browner anyway, but this just kind of adds a little sheen to the pie dough. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle a little sanding sugar on this when we're done. I like the crystallized sugar when I take a bite of the pie against those tart cherries. I just think that adds such a nice little touch. And so we're just going to brush this on quick, no big deal. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the sugar crystals, and we're just going to sprinkle it on the top. All right, oh, doesn't that look pretty? See, that's just very, very pretty. All right. And it's gonna taste super yummy when we're all done too. All right, it's all good. Of course, you don't have to do the sugar on top if you don't want to. If you're trying to omit sugar in your life, I understand. Okay, so our pie is ready. We're gonna put it in the oven. It goes in 400 degrees for about 30 minutes. You just wanna wait until the cherries are done already. So all you're doing is you're gonna make this crust golden brown and delicious. So let's stick this in the oven. Hey you guys, here we are with cherry pie. I'm so excited. The house smells amazing and it looks really good. I mean, it's not perfect, but you know what? It looks homemade and that's what I'm after. So let's take a bite here and see how it is. It's very good. And I don't mind that it's canned cherries, and you shouldn't either. You know, at this time, we just kind of got to go with what we can make and what we can find at the store because it's crazy out there. Please ask questions in the comments below if there's anything I can help you with or any answers that I can give you. And don't forget to subscribe and like. We really appreciate you guys being here with us. Thanks again and have a great day.
Hey, you could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the whole could.